Reading 53 of the level 1 curriculum will talk about the issuance, trading and the funding in fixed income markets. So global bond markets can be classified by various types. They can be classified by the type of issuer. So it can be the market for government bonds or government related bonds, or it can be a market for corporate bonds. So corporates can be financial entities, that is banks, non-banking, financial corporations, etc., or non-financial entities like manufacturing companies. They could be securitizations or securitized assets that we'll study more about in the coming slides and at the level 2. Bond markets can be classified by credit quality. Investment grade is generally from safer or issuances from companies who have more stable and more healthy cash flows, whereas non-investment grade markets or issues are from lesser quality corporates or lesser quality cash flows. They can be classified by maturity. So money markets are generally less than 1 year, capital markets are more than 1 year. They can be classified by fixed rate bonds or floating rate bonds. They can be classified by the currency and geography, so domestic bonds, foreign bonds, global bonds, euro bonds, bonds issued in US dollars but outside the US, in yen but outside Japan, etc. Developed market bonds, emerging market bonds, etc. Other classifications could be indexed bonds, tax-free bonds, etc. So there can be many classifications within the bond market that we have seen. An important concept is that of interbank offered rates as reference rates. So interbank lending rates are the rates promised when one bank lends to another bank, or it is the rate of interest charged by one bank and paid by other bank when there is interbank borrowing and lending happening. So London interbank offered rate is generally a euro dollar rate. That is, it is the rate on dollar deposits made outside the US or dollar deposits made in Britain, in Europe. So this rate is essentially a dollar rate. It represents a dollar borrowing, only it has been made outside the US. Now this rate is posted daily. This rate can be for a one-day borrowing. So there's a bank A and a bank B. Bank A wants to lend to bank B and bank B wants to deposit some money in bank A. So the bank B is depositing the money. So bank A, for instance, will post daily rates that the bank is offering on deposits. So for a 60-day deposit, the bank is offering 2%. For a 100-day deposit, the bank is offering 2.1%. For a 5-year deposit, the bank is going to give an annual rate of 2.6%, so on and so forth. Banks accept deposits every day. The rate is the rate that the bank is offering for accepting deposits in dollars for various maturities. The rates are always annualized and these rates will change daily. So for a 60-day deposit today, I may be charging 2%. Tomorrow I may charge more or less depending on the demand and supply of money. So these interbank lending rates or these offers are only for other banks. That if another bank deposits, this is the rate that bank A is offering. Similarly, all banks will post their offer. That is, if you deposit with me, I offer this much rate. We take the average of all 60-day interest rates offered, and that will be the 60-day LIBOR or the 60-day interest rate, and this number will change every day. This LIBOR rate, that is the rate on euro-dollar deposits, is often used as a reference rate for floating rate debt. As we'll see, the coupon will keep varying as these rates change. An appropriate reference rate is one that matches a floating rate note's currency and frequency of resets. So if it's a 6-month floating rate bond, so every 6 months the coupon is paid based on the 6-month LIBOR. So the appropriate reference rate will be the 6-month US dollar LIBOR for a semi-annual floating rate note issued in the US or issued in US dollars. So if I have a semi-annual bond, that is the bond pays coupon every 6 months, and the coupon is not fixed. Coupon is based on a reference rate. So what will be a good reference rate for this bond? It will be the 6-month LIBOR. So after every 6 months, we will look at the 6-month LIBOR. Whatever is that rate is the coupon that will be paid to the investor of the bond. If the 6-month LIBOR goes up, the investor will get more coupon. If the 6-month LIBOR comes down, the investor will get less coupon. How are bonds issued? Primary market is when new bonds are issued for the first time through a public offering or a private placement. A public offering is generally done using an investment bank. It may be underwritten, that is, if enough investors do not participate or do not provide the investment, then the investment bank will itself subscribe and provide the investment for the issue, with the investment bank or syndicate purchasing the entire issue and selling the bonds to dealers, or on a best efforts basis. In a best efforts basis, the investment bank doesn't guarantee. However, he sells the bonds on a commission and he markets the bond to all investors on behalf of the corporate that wants to raise debt or raise money. Public offerings can also take place through auctions, which is normally the method used to issue government debt. So the debt is placed with the investor who is willing to accept the lowest yield or the lowest return. So whoever bids the lowest yield or whoever bids the highest price for the bond is who the bond is given to, that investor. In a private placement, an entire issue is sold to a qualified investor who gives the debt or who invests the money, and we issue the bonds to that investor or a group of investors, which are typically large institutions. Bonds that have been issued previously can also exchange hands. So I may have invested in a bond and now I may require money for some other purposes, so I can sell the bond to some other investor in the secondary market. While some bonds trade on exchanges, most of the bond trading happens in the over-the-counter market or in dealer markets. Spreads between bid and ask prices. The dealer market, please recall, the dealers post bid, that is the price at which they will buy, and ask, that is the price at which they will sell the bond. These bid-ask spread are the source for the dealer's compensation, are generally narrower for liquid issues and wider for less liquid issues, just like in equities or any other market. Trade settlement is typically 3 days after the trade for corporate bonds, 1 day after the trade for government bonds, and the same day for money market instruments. That is how quickly the transfer happens electronically or in physical form. The issue or the bonds get transferred from your name to the other person's name and you receive the cash. So it takes 3 days for corporate bonds and 1 day or same day for government and money market instruments. Government related bond issuances are very common. Just like corporates need bonds, governments also need debt for various purposes, for infrastructure creation, social purposes, and other expenditures. So sovereign bonds are issued by national governments and are backed by their taxing power. They may be denominated in the local currency or in the foreign currency. Non-sovereign government bonds are issued by governments below the national level, such as provinces or cities, and may be backed by the taxing authority or revenues from a specific project. So municipalities also may issue bonds for a particular highway construction, and once that highway is completed, the toll from that highway is used to repay the debt on that project. Agency or quasi-government bonds are issued by government-sponsored entities. For example, the Freddie Mac, Freddie Mae, Fannie Mac, or the government housing finance agencies in the US have historically been sponsored by the government. So they are helped by the government to meet their cash flow obligations to the lenders in case they are unable to service them on their own. Supranational bonds are issued by multilateral agencies, for example, the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund. So they also need money for development activities all over the world, and you can invest in their bonds as well. Generally, these are also high quality bonds and are another source of investment for bond investors. Debt issued by corporations includes bank debt. So you raise money directly from the bank. It can be commercial paper, wherein instead of borrowing from the bank, who in turn is borrowing from retailers or depositors, the company can directly go to the depositors. So for bank debt, the corporation goes to the bank and the bank takes it from the depositors through essentially bank earns a spread. So the corporate may say, why give the bank a spread? The corporate can directly go to the depositor. Generally, only high quality corporates are able to do this. They can issue bonds. So corporate bonds are generally placed with institutional investors, insurance companies, mutual funds, and other entities, and medium term notes, which can also be bought by various investors. Bank debt includes bilateral loans from a single bank, or it can be syndicated loan where multiple banks come in and lend to a particular corporate. Commercial paper is a money market instrument issued by corporations of the highest credit quality. As I explained, they go to the depositors directly. Corporate bonds may have a term maturity structure. That is, all bonds in an issue mature at the same time, or they may have a serial maturity structure. That is, the bonds mature on a predetermined schedule. That is, some bonds mature first, others mature later, and can also have a sinking fund provision, as we discussed, where a part of the bond issue has to be retired at specific periods in time. So let's say I borrowed $100 by issuing 10 bonds. So in a term maturity structure, all 10 bonds and $100 matures after 5 years. In a serial maturity structure, there's a predetermined schedule according to which some bonds will first get matured and then the others, and similarly a sinking fund provision. Medium term notes are again issues that can be structured to meet the requirements of various investors. Short-term funding alternatives for banks are many. So banks generally lend to corporates for short-term, medium-term, long-term. The bank's main source of funding is the depositors' capital, that is the retail and wholesale deposits that they receive. So the first short-term funding alternative is customer deposits, that is checking accounts, also called current accounts, savings accounts, and money market mutual funds. Banks can also issue negotiable certificates of deposits. Certificates of deposits are like fixed deposits which may be sold in the wholesale market, that is to insurance companies or mutual funds. They may accept big deposits from these institutions at a negotiated rate at which the institution may be willing to put money in the bank. Central bank funds market. So banks may buy or sell excess reserves deposited with their central bank. So they can essentially go and borrow and lend money to the RBI or the Federal Reserve or the central bank. And banks can make unsecured loans to one another for periods up to a year. These are interbank funds. The LIBOR rate that we discussed essentially is an interbank rate. That is the rate charged by one bank for lending to another bank. Finally, a very important concept of repurchase agreements. So a repurchase agreement is a form of a short-term collateralized borrowing in which one party sells a security to another party and agrees to buy it back at a predetermined future date and price. So it's party A and party B. Party A has an asset. He agrees to sell it to B for $10 and then buy it back from B 2 days later by paying him $10.1. So he has sold with an agreement to buy it back at a pre-decided rate at a pre-decided time. This $0.1 that B is earning additionally is like the interest on the borrowing. This implicit interest rate in a repurchase agreement that can be easily calculated by seeing what is the price at which the borrower is buying it back is referred to as the repo rate or the repurchase rate. The repo margin or haircut is the difference between the amount borrowed and the value of the security. So if this asset is worth $15 and I'm borrowing $10, then the haircut is 50%. That is the difference between the amount borrowed and the value of the security. Repurchase agreements are an important source of short-term financing for the bond dealers. If a bond dealer is lending funds instead of borrowing, the agreement is known as a reverse repo. That is, he has sold the asset and he will buy it back. If he is buying the asset and paying the money, that is, he is lending, then the transaction is referred to as reverse repo. The first transaction is the repo transaction, wherein he is selling the asset, that is borrowing, and then buying it back, that is repaying after a pre-decided time at a pre-decided price. Very important, repurchase agreements, agreement to sell and buy back. Essentially a borrowing or essentially a lending, that is a collateralized lending with that asset that you are buying and selling as the collateral.